교우님 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
It's very nice to see you all.
벌써 입춘이 지나가고 어제는
Already the spring has passed,
우수였습니다.
and yesterday was the day where the frozen water starts to melt.
문득
If you
하늘을
look up at the sky, you may even see a flock of geese flying in a line
추운 곳을
towards a colder
향해서 줄을
place.
지어 가는 것을 볼 수도 있을 것입니다.
The winter cold still continues here in the HJ Cheonwon complex,
겨울 추위가 계속되고 있지만
but I can
마음만은
feel the
벌써
spring energy rising in our
봄
heart.
기운이 삭트는 것을 느낍니다. 오늘 평화누리는
Today's Peace Nuri was prepared as a victory report service for the Korea
보고 예배로
Summit
준비하였습니다.
for Peace on Korean Peninsula.
글로벌 특집 영상을 통해서 근본 한반도 평화 서밋이 얼마나 놀라운 기적 같은 대승리적
Today's
행사였는지
Peace Nuri was prepared. You must have fully felt how amazing and miraculously triumphant this peace summit on the Korean Peninsula was through the special video you just watched. In addition to this, I was thinking of ways to make an inspiring report, but first of all, I have summarized the secret of the victory of the Korean Peninsula Peace Summit into the following 6 points.
한 7가지로 정리해 보았습니다. 첫째, 천주 평화연합의
First, it was a
위상을 확실하게
victorious
세운
competition rally by firmly establishing the status of the
이번 행사를 주최한
Universal
곳이
Peace
어느 힘
Federation.
있는
The event was hosted by an NGO
천주 평화
called the
연합이라는
UPF,
NGO
Universal Peace Federation, not by a powerful country.
이처럼 세계 정상들을
How could a private organization bring together world leaders like this?
UPF,
UPF,
천주 평화 연합은
or Universal Peace Federation, was founded by true parents on September 12, 2005 in New York,
뉴욕에서
USA.
창설한 단체입니다.
Let's read a part of the founding
먼저 그
message.
창설 메시지의 일부분을 한번 읽어보겠습니다.
The role of the UN representatives representing and claiming only their own rights and interests is now revealing their inherent limitations in resolving world conflicts and realizing world peace. Therefore, today, for the realization of a world of peace, which is God's eternal ideal of creation, I declare before all humankind the creation of a new international organization that can perform the functions of the peaceful, able United Nations in a new dimension, along with the renewal of the existing United Nations. It was launched under the name of the Universal Peace Federation, AJU. After that, other leaders from all walks of life were appointed as peace ambassadors around the world. The foundation of the Universal Peace Federation was solidified, but the function as a substantive, able United Nation was not greatly demonstrated. Then, in 2019, True Mother's 40-day world tour of Cosmic Canon for the settlement of Cheonwoo in 2019 finally raised the status of UPF globally.
세계적으로 격상시켜 놓으셨고 월드 서밋 2020과 근본 한반도 평화 서밋을 통해 천일국을 대표하는 아벨 주의노로서 그 위상을 갖출 수 있게 되었다는 점입니다. 둘째, 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님에 대한
Second, it was a rally that was won through absolute faith in heavenly parents and true parents. At the World Summit 2020 held 2 years ago, didn't you believe in God and push through even in the dire situation of coronavirus just before the spread?
한 명의 확진자 없이 기적 같은 완벽한 행사를 치러내지 않았습니까? 그런데 근본 이 한반도 평화 서밋은
However, this time the Korean Peninsula Peace Summit was the worst situation that had to be endured at the risk that the event itself would be almost cancelled due to the rapid spread of COVID and Omicron. It is said that the most difficult thing was the immigration procedures and quarantine for the heads of state and VVIP.
한국 대통령과의 회담이 예정된 현직 정상이 아니면
Unless heads of state has a prior meeting scheduled with the President Korea is scheduled, quarantine exemption is not possible, making it almost impossible to host the event. In fact, due to these complicated protocol issues, including immigration procedures and quarantine issues, situations began to arise in which even the heads of countries who had promised to attend the event were forced to not attend. Under such unfavorable conditions, even the event hosted by the state would have to be postponed or cancelled early. But wouldn't heaven not be able to stop, give up, or postpone its providence for even a moment? Wasn't all providence accomplished so far difficult? Because it was a path of providence that we had never walked before. We had no choice but to follow true parents with absolute faith. In the meantime, as we have been running along this path of faith, in spite of the government's non-cooperation and pressure, in spite of all kinds of persecution and opposition from established denominations, furthermore, in the face of threats from the communist forces and vicious sabotage, haven't we witnessed the miracles of providence that was achieved with absolute faith countless times? We are well aware that this is because God was with us, and it was because of the blood, sweat, and tears of true parents who mobilized the spiritual realm to cooperate. It was the same with this event. Satan's forces were desperate to cancel the event by mobilizing all means, and they drove us to the worst situation, making us want to give up. But the world headquarters, including Director General Yoon Young-ho and those in charge of each continent around the world, became together in absolute faith with True Mother, who led us with a strong will and belief that we can do it, that any satanic forces had no choice but to retreat. As a result, problems that were considered impossible because they were so clogged up began to be solved one by one, and we were able to finally get the leaders of each country and the VVIPs to be released from quarantine. I couldn't help but view it as a miraculous reversal to the extent that I was truly thrilled when I reached this part while listening to the special report from Director General Yoon Young-ho at the last revelation. In one word, all of this is a victory achieved through absolute faith, devotion, and prayer to God, and it cannot but be the victory of True Mother, the only begotten daughter who is leading the providence on earth. Please give a big, loud thank you, applause for the victory and glory to the victorious heavenly parents and true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, especially for True Mother, who is the Mother of Peace. In addition, we would like to give a big round of applause of gratitude to Director General Yoon Young-ho, the World Headquarters officials, and all the leaders and family members around the world who worked hard without sleep to reach the success of this event. Third, it was a victory that mobilized the world's largest mass media and media outlets.
그동안 우리 교회가 그려나온
During the short history of our
기지 않은 역사
church,
가운데
many large
국제적인
events
규모의
on an international
행사들이
scale were
성공적으로
successfully
개최되었지만
held, but
제대로
wasn't there
언론과
always
방송의 조명을 받지
a feeling
못해
of
마음
disappointment
한구석에서는
and
늘
emptiness in the
아쉬움과
corner of your heart
허전함이
because it did not
남아있지
receive
않았습니다.
adequate attention from the media and
그러기에 행사
broadcasting?
때마다
That's why
매스컴의 섭외에 남다른 노력을
We made
기울여 나왔지만
extraordinary efforts to recruit the
여전히
media at
시각적을
each
끼고
event,
우리를 바라보는
but the media were still
언론들이다
looking at
보니
us with bias.
늘
So the
언론
media
보도는
reports in the past
인색하기
were
짝이
always
없었던
limited.
것입니다.
However,
그런데
as we
코로나
entered the
팬데믹
era
시대에
of the COVID
들어서면서
pandemic,
대부분의
when most
종교가
religions were failing
우왕좌왕하면서
to respond
제대로
properly,
대응하지 못하고 있을 때
the world headquarters quickly built a network platform through the internet.
구축하였고 2년 가까이 온라인
Surprising,
희망전진
successful
대회와
events continued to be
싱크탱크 2022
held.
포럼 등 세계가 깜짝 놀랄 정도로 성공적인 행사들을 지속적으로 개최해 나왔던 것입니다.
By
이처럼 2년
consolidating
동안
all of its
착착
know-how
준비해온 기반 위에
and capabilities on the foundation that has been steadily
영양들을
preparing for the past 2
결집해서
years,
근본 한반도 평화서밋이라는
we have been able to build a great platform called the Peace Summit of the Korean
그동안
Peninsula.
희망전진 대회
As
횟수가
the
늘어남에 따라
numbers
전
of
세계적으로
Hope Rally
수많은
has
언론과
increased, the
국영,
cooperation and good
민영
response
방송사들의
by
협조와
many
좋은
media and
반응들이
state-run
이어지던
private broadcasters have
드디어
continued
근본 한반도
worldwide.
평화서밋에서는 한국의 MBC 넷과 피서링크를
Finally, it is a
비롯해서
dream that the
전
Peace Summit on the
전
Korean
세계적으로
Peninsula
3,517개의
has
방송사에서 근본 행사를
broadcasted this
생중계 또는
event
온라인
live or
방송으로
online from
내보냈다는
3,517
그저
broadcasts
꿈 같은 일이
worldwide,
아닐 수 없습니다.
including Korea's MBC Net
한국의
and
각 언론과
Peace Link.
방송사에서도 취재에 열을 올렸고
Each Korean media and broadcasters also opened coverage, and after the event, media around the world reported it. According to statistics, the cumulative number of people who watched the event, which was held for 3 days through the internet live broadcast and online broadcast, exceeded 3 billion people.
넘어섰다고 합니다. 특히
Especially in Korea, media and broadcasting are complicated
여러 가지 이해관계가 얽혀져 있어서
because various interests are intertwined. Our church events are not covered well and are not often reported on the news.
그런데 이번에
But this
MBC
time,
넷에서는
the
이미
fact that
편성되어
NBC
있는
Net canceled
고정 프로그램을
or
취소하거나
postponed a fixed
연기시키고
program that had already been
우리 행사
programmed
전체를 생방송으로
and organized the entire 3-day event live. It is a surprising event that cannot be imagined.
우리가 주최한 행사가
The fact that the event we hosted does not end with just our own event, but was broadcasted live at the same time, allowing anyone across the country to watch it on TV in their home house.
그야말로 우리 교회 역사상 가장 획기적이요
This is truly the most groundbreaking and dreamlike event in the history of our church. Watching the opening ceremony live on the TV channel on the first day of the event, I was so excited and happy that, in a word, it felt like we had our own broadcasting station for our church. So just in time for all these 3-day events to start, I sent the MBC Net and Peace Link addresses to about 80 relatives, alumni, spiritual children, to all the people I knew, and in particular, the most touching thing is that at the main event of the Korean Peninsula Peace Summit on February 13th, the event time was 1 hour longer. It ended 1 hour longer than planned, so I thought the live broadcast would stop broadcasting at 12 o'clock. And yet the live broadcast continued until the very end of True Parent Mother's speech. The fact is that it was still being broadcasted live. Please give a big round of applause for our MBC Net broadcasters.
넷째, 이번 행사의 대성공의 비결은
Fourth
바로
issue,
다름 아닌 세계 각국 정상들의 동참에
the success can be found by the great success of this event can be found in the participation of the heads of countries around the world, like Cambodia Prime Minister Hun Sen and former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon,
정식으로 초청장이 발송되었기 때문에
serving as co-organizers of the Korean Peninsula Peace Summit, and formal invitations were sent to 157 countries that establish common diplomatic ties between the two Koreas under the joint name. So the status of the event itself was the best world summit in the world. In fact, there were 25 incumbent heads of the state who participate in this event, both face-to-face and non-face-to-face. Isn't that great?
그동안 우리는 이 참부모님의 워낙
In the meantime, true parents have held so many world-class rallies that they seem to have gotten used to it so much that it is not surprising at all. When I heard that close to 30 incumbent leaders could have attended in person if there had been no diplomatic difficulties such as quarantine due to the coronavirus, I was moved to think that Heavenly Parents were really trying to show the world such a big thing that could surprise the world.
준비해 주셨구나 하는 감동이 밀려왔습니다. 이제 그때가 점점 다가오고 있음을 느낍니다. 뿐만 아니라 이런 세계 최고 정상들이 한결같이 우리 참 어머님의 평화와 통일 운동에 대한 아낌없는 찬사와
In addition, it was unbelievable to see these world leaders consistently expressing their generous praise and respect for our mother's peace and unification movement and expressing their support and cooperation. Moreover, I was beyond shock when seeing former U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo, Mr. Pompeo giving a speech while relying on a walking medical device. It was a big decision to make, even if the person was a member.
우리 식구였어도 쉽지 않았을 대단한 결단이요 용기가 아닐 수 없습니다.
I am curious what had moved his heart. Was these results made overnight? Was any one of these top leaders get involved easily? In fact, as we have seen in the past, weren't even the mayor or the country governor being reluctant to attend our past events and give congratulations. Now I realize that the times have changed completely. As True Mother says, in 2022, it is an era in which the power of heaven and the power of True Mother must be fully revealed in front of the world. 아주.
다섯째, 행사 성공의 비결 가운데 하나로 그 뒤에서도 구경하기 어려운 메모더급 행사장과 무대 세팅을 들지 않을 수 없습니다.
Fifth, one of the secrets of the event's success is the mammoth-class event hall and stage setting that is difficult to see anywhere else. Everyone could not help but admire the majestic stage and splendid event venue that gave everyone a sense of exclamation the moment they entered the venue. In particular, the entire 360-degree area was installed with a large LED screen, and I was able to realize with my whole body that the best images, the best sound, and the best cultural performances were prepared with so much effort that it is hard to find in any government-sponsored event. 6 most metropolitan provinces and cities, countries, and districts across the country, as well as all institutions, businesses, and providential organizations in the unification church was held the 1 million National Salvation Rally of Hope face-to-face and non-face-to-face, so that we can all enjoy not as spectators, but true owners. Standing completely in one with True Mother was the source of the precious victory in this rally. If I could introduce one more thing that should not be overlooked in the success of the event, I can't help but mention the YSP Youth Volunteer Corps, who worked tirelessly and without a name during this event. From dawn to late at night, they were deployed at all events, including the Jamsil Lotte Hotel accommodation, in charge of the quarantine protocol, transportation, interpretation, identification of routes, and guidance. In fact, my son also worked for 8 days as staff member for the VIPs who stayed at the Lotte Hotel, and the event was successful without any setbacks, such as preparing bags. And the volunteers prepared each guest's schedule according to their next day's route, and they had to get a car reservation, parking lot reservation. My son said that he could only sleep for about 2 hours every day because of the preparation. Also, even if you look at the quarantine staff, didn't you see them wearing protective clothes from dawn on the cold day and working hard for the corona test? Because of these invisible volunteers, all events were interlocked like gears, and it was possible to proceed smoothly and to achieve perfect harmony. Please give a big round of applause to all YSP Youth College students who worked hard. Clap. I have summarized this event into 7 categories. On February 15th, the very next day after all the events of the Summit for Peace on Korean Peninsula, attending True Mother in person. Here on February 15th, the very next day after all the events of the Korean Peace Peninsula, at the Grand Chapel of Cheonan Church, the heads of the Providential Organization, elders and pastors from all over the country attended the event. A celebration was held with great inspiration and grace to honor the miraculous victory of the Korean Peninsula Peace Summit, attending True Mother in person. Unlike the many celebrations held before, this celebration was a place to celebrate the amazing achievement that was achieved in the hardest and most difficult time. And it was a true time of tears and inspiration, sharing the joy of the miracle victory that made the impossible possible. On this day, Director General Yoon Young-ho, through a special report, said that we overcame all obstacles and was able to win with the belief that this event should be unconditionally successful. Was through True Mother, who could not rest for a moment and devoted her life fulfilling true parents' wishes only. He said that it was possible all thanks to True Mother, and that all these victories were because of True Mother's tears, sincerity, and love. We applauded and cheered when we saw only the majestic and splendid result. But until this amazing result was achieved, True Mother's devotion and unnamed leaders and family members of countless unificationists around the world were there, including Cheongjeonggung Palace and the world headquarters. We must never forget that this foundation was made through such sacrifice and hard work. Let us once again give a big round of applause. Also, in this event, our Cheonan Church and Gapyeong Church members worked hard to visit the villages, and many people who had been connected with them participated in the event. Also, the Women Federation for World Peace and UPF also invited meaningful leaders in Gapyeong-gun, including the future candidates for country officials, ambassadors for peace. Thank you very much for their effort. Here's a brief report on my personal activities. Our family was registered as a Chombo family in 2020, and there was no limit to how thrilled and happy we were. At that time, after hearing the words of True Mother, who emphasized that the pastoral family should first set an example for the realization of 43 families in front of the family, we immediately went on a 3-day schedule to visit spiritual children scattered throughout the region.
보여야 된다고 그토록 강조하시며 당부하신 말씀을 듣고서 그 당시 곧바로 3일간의 일정으로 지방에 흩어져 있는 믿음의 자녀들 한 가정을 찾아다니며 모처럼 오붓한
We made efforts such as sharing closeness, encouraging faith, and finding dormant families. But there were not so many spiritual children we have been managing so far. So, in the corner of our hearts, we were always worried about how we could win the establishment of 43 families. I decided to witness more spiritual children of true faith, so I made it the subject of my prayer. However, it was just my heart, and since I had only been to Sorak for a few years, it was difficult to actually witness because there were not many people I knew. However, as I prayed with a determination to witness, from one day I met a righteous person who introduced me to more people to witness. In this way, by meeting each person that was introduced to me and explaining and introducing our church, 10 spiritual children filled out the membership application form in 2 months. And we also have a Kakao Talk group chat where we share and exchange greetings every day as if we were one family. And every time a new member of the spiritual children comes in, after filling out the membership form, everyone welcomes each other with the joy of having a new family. Although the relationship was short, I invited them to Hyejeong Cafe, Hanwonjip, and Hyejeongyeon restaurant through regular meeting to introduce the Cheonwon complex. All of us are closely connected by this relationship of spiritual parent and children, and my wife and I are actually called mother and father. And at this time, True Mother prepared such an amazing event, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring 43 families to attendance. So I invited 3 people, 2 people, and 1 person each for 3 days. And today, as a place where spiritual father is preaching, I brought 5 spiritual children here. Yes, all my spiritual children, please stand up. Thank you. Lastly, I would like to introduce a part of True Mother's words given at this Peace Summit on Korean Peninsula. This is True Mother's words. I said, only when this nation has Heavenly Parent as its parent, can the world of one happy human family of true world peace, freedom, equality, and reunification can be realized. In that sense, as true parent, I want the people of South and North Korea to become truly one with me. And the true unification of the Korean peninsula can be achieved in our time, in our period, when the South and the North become brothers and sisters by becoming one with me. And until this such world today can be realized,
문제는 우리가 바로 하늘을 부모로 모시는 자녀로서의 자격을 갖추는 일입니다.
it is first, the problem is that we qualify as children who have Heavenly Parent as our parent.
참된 자녀가 되지 않고서는 남북한의 통일은 물론
True Mother is clearly teaching us that no matter where we are sitting, we cannot achieve world peace as well as the unification of the true Koreas unless all humankind become true children of Heavenly Parent. As True Mother said, if all nations and all citizens of the world become sons and daughters of Heavenly Parent, then we will become brothers and sisters to each other. The whole world will truly become one human family and one extended human family under Heavenly Parent. It means that there can be no fights between siblings. As we listen to the speeches of the world leaders in this event, didn't we say with one voice that their unchanging hope is to create a peaceful world? When I listened carefully, there were words that were commonly used in the speeches of the leaders. What was it? Those words were peace and prosperity, dialogue and cooperation, mutual trust, common prosperity, mutual growth, mutual respect, and joint effort. If we summarize the meanings of these various words into 3 words, it becomes the interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal values that we are advocating. According to True Parents' words in the Cheonsangjang, when people know that there is no doubt that God exists, that they know what the spiritual realm is like, and that they have eternal life, they can't even commit a sin even if they were told to commit a sin. And even if they were told to live for themselves, they can no longer live in such a way. That's right. Now it is our responsibility to make it clear to all humankind that God, our Heavenly Parent, is our Heavenly Parent, and to remind them that there is a spiritual realm and eternal life. So, we are always grateful, and really we are happy because True Mother is here by our side. And in order to advance the vision of peaceful reunification of the Korean peninsula, the establishment of new unified Korea, and the establishment of a new unified world, our steps and our walk forward cannot be stopped